An Airbnb guest has stayed 540 days at a dentist guest house by using pandemic eviction protections and a just cause eviction law. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article and story for you today, and it's another story where a landlord got taken advantage of by a Airbnb guest. I've covered stories like this before, and the problem is when you are hosting these people inside your house, and using it as a short-term rental in some jurisdictions, right? They will look at these people as though they are actual tenants, and you have to go through the actual civil eviction process if something goes wrong. And in this case, something went very wrong. So this dentist out in Los Angeles decided they were going to rent their guest house out behind the home that they live in as an Airbnb. Now, they didn't exactly understand that, hey, Los Angeles is one of the worst places to be a landlord. And they suffered the consequences because of it. Not only did this guest decide that they weren't going to leave the property and not pay any rent, but the city of Los Angeles won't let the landlord evict this person because of the just cause eviction protections that just came into effect. Okay, so this is an absolute horrible situation. And this is the type of thing that I'm always talking about. This is the reason why just cause eviction laws, they don't work. Why landlords, they should basically focus on places where we have property rights, where if something like this does happen, we can get these people up out of our properties without having to go through a stupid civil eviction process, and especially not in a place like Los Angeles that had one of the longest eviction moratoriums in the entire country. So this guy was stuck with this tenant who wasn't paying and could do absolutely nothing until earlier this year, even though the pandemic was over years ago. Okay, so before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like, subscribe button, maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. So the stories like this, do they scare you away from wanting to invest in Airbnb? I cover Airbnb a lot because I saw it, and I still do see it as a great investment if this is what you're willing to do. I've considered doing an Airbnb myself, right? But I see the way these laws are changing throughout the entire country. There's just this fight that local municipalities are trying to have against the platforms. They don't like short-term rentals. They are supporting the hotel groups, and they are fighting against the small mom and pop operators who just want to make an extra buck. And it just seems like the opportunity to really make money in it, right? If you're just getting started now, it's declining a lot. And so I've decided, I was for a while going to look into doing it, and I've just decided, hey, my specialty is long-term rentals. I'm going to stick with my specialty. And not I always trying new things might be great, but not this thing in particular. But what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea to invest in Airbnb at this point in time, or do you think there's just too many changes to local laws that are making it too difficult to make money, or maybe there's just too much competition, and you've got too many Airbnbs in your area to make enough profit off of it, or maybe you think it's just too much work? But whatever it is, let me know down in the comments below. But let's get into the article. This article is coming from thedailymail.com, and it says, Airbnb renter refuses to leave LA home after 540 days as judge backs her efforts to stay in a Brentwood Hills mansion. A successful LA dentist had his $3.8 million home hijacked by an Airbnb guest who simply refused to leave. The nightmare tenant overstayed her welcome by 540 days without paying. So yeah, the home itself, the mansion itself that this guy lives in, wasn't what was taken. It was actually the guest house behind the home. But so they clarify more of that in the article. But let me get into it, okay? An Airbnb host had his $3.8 million California mansion hijacked by a guest who refuses to leave after spending more than 540 days in the home unless she has paid $100,000. Sasha Jovanovic rented the guest house of his Brentwood mansion out on Airbnb in September 2021 to Elizabeth Hirschhorn, and his guest has long overstayed her welcome and has refused to move out of the mansion. The dispute has become the center of an ongoing lawsuit as Jovanovic looks to boot the squatter, but an LA judge says he has no right to remove the tenant. So, yeah, basically, he rented this place out to this tenant, and the tenant, there was a dispute between him and the tenant. They're going to go into it here in a minute, and the tenant refuses to leave. Okay, and the problem was all this was going on during the time of the pandemic when all the eviction moratorium and stuff was going on. And so this guy, he didn't realize, hey, I have to go through the civil eviction process if I want to remove this tenant. And if you have to go through the civil eviction process and the eviction moratorium is going on, well, that means you are stuck. And if that tenant doesn't pay you another dime, then you're just screwed over. And it's likely because this person was renting a guest house at a mansion, right? This person probably did not qualify for, rental assistance or any of that other stuff. So you were just out that money. You're just paying this person's bills for them, and this person is getting to live for free. And they're a scammer because, as it said earlier, they are demanding $100,000 from this person to leave. So you can have your own house back, but you got to pay me. Like, well, why do you deserve $100,000? You've been living rent free for well over a year, and you want money on top of that? You should have saved up tens of thousands of dollars because you weren't paying any rent. Goodness, these people are scammers, and they're backed up by a government that doesn't believe in property rights, okay? That's what happens when you invest out in California. That's why I would never spend a dime on any property in LA. I don't care what the appreciation is. This is what the result could be if you end up trying to be a landlord out there. Small mom and pop landlords who are doing this stuff, that's what these people are. This is, it looks bad because this is a mansion, right? But this dentist here is getting his butt handed to him as he's paying all the bills for this person and taking thousands upon thousands of dollars in losses, and he may end up having to pay this person $100,000 as well. Okay? This is a joke, and unfortunately, this is the reality of the situation, okay? Jovanovic, a renowned dentist, rented the Airbnb without it being registered and it has no certificate of occupancy. It also had a shower built without a permit. As such, it's not a legal rental, and she shouldn't have been charged rent at the start. A new California law prevents landlords from evicting tenants without a legal reason, and with the facility being an unregistered unit, the legal standing remains murky. The periodontics dentist said he feels scared in his own home. He told the Los Angeles Times, I can never go into my home and know that I'm safe when a potential hostile person is living there. I'm thinking about it at all times. So basically, he didn't follow the rules, okay? But here's the question that I have for people, okay? Yeah, you have a tenant in your property. It doesn't have a certificate of occupancy. It doesn't, it didn't have all the permits and all that stuff, right? But does that mean that that person gets to live there forever for free? Of course not. Okay? Maybe he should have to pay a fine. Maybe he should have to even, pay, a little bit of moving expenses, or maybe they should allow him to fix the problems that they are pointing out. But allowing this person to just stay there for free, if these are real problems, like it doesn't have a certificate of occupancy, it doesn't have the correct permits, etc., well, they need to get this person up out of there. It's too dangerous for them to live there, right? But it's the opposite. Instead, they wanted to stay there forever. What a joke! This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm laughing at this situation because of how dumb it sounds to me. Colin Walshock, Hirschhorn's lawyers, blasted the dentist in his claims. The landlord broke the law and tried to make money by renting out an illegal bootleg unit, Walshock told the outlet. After he was caught, instead of doing the right thing, he has resorted to bullying, harassment, and the filing of frivolous lawsuits containing elaborate false stories, all in an attempt to cover his tracks. This sounds like the typical tenant lawyer to me, one who's so greedy, so selfish, so outside the realm of reality that they don't even know what the heck they're talking about. Okay, this person, all he's doing, he's like an ambulance chaser. Now, there's a reason why a lot of lawyers give the entire profession a bad name because of people like this. Okay, he's like, oh well, he broke the law and he by renting out this illegal unit. Yeah, he didn't have a certificate of occupancy, right? That was a mistake. That's something that's easy to fix. But here's the question. Here's the question I have for you. Okay, let's say that you're a business, right? And you're supposed to have a business license, but you don't get that business license. And you're operating a grocery store and it's full of, thousands and thousands of dollars worth of food. Does that mean that now you have to give all of that food away because you didn't have a business license? Does that mean that people deserve to be able to come in there, steal your food, just take the food? Nope, you can't have this. We're gonna just take it now. No. Instead, you still have your food, and you won't be able to operate your business anymore, but you still have your product. So why is it different for a landlord? Why does the landlord have to give their product away for free and then even pay this person 100 grand on top of that? They shouldn't have to, okay? This is nothing but a money grab by a greedy lawyer and a greedy scam artist, squatter tenant. Okay, I've covered these squatter tenants before, professional tenants who they look for an opportunity to be able to steal money from property owners. And that's exactly what's happening in this situation. And unfortunately, these squatter tenants, they seem to center themselves around areas with extremely strong tenant protections and extremely weak landlord rights. Okay. And places like LA fit the definition perfectly. And these people, they will take every dime from you that they can. And they have whole, like lawyers and law firms set up to work on their side so that they can hopefully, they'll ask for 100,000, but the truth is they might accept a settlement of only 50,000 or something stupid like that, right? These are just scammers. These are all scammers. And, I feel bad for this guy, but here's my suggestion. You decided that you wanted to do this Airbnb thing, right? Important lesson learned. But I say cut and run, okay? Cut and run, which means if you got to pay these people off, cut them. Yeah, you brought the whole situation to the attention of the media. Everybody's on your side right now. It looks good, but that doesn't mean that in the long run you're going to have money. Okay, it's just going to continue to cost you money, continue to cost you headache. So what I would do is pay this person off, get them the heck out of the property, tear the guest house down, take it off of Airbnb. You don't need it. Okay, you don't need this money. You make plenty of money as a dentist. You don't need to supplement your income with Airbnb. Okay, it's just not worth it, especially not in Los Angeles.